Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's show is called A Billion-Dollar New Scam that's allowing some car dealers to make more money than some drug dealers. Wouldn't it be great if you could outsmart these car dealers and prevent them from ripping you off on this massive scale? Well, we're going to make that possible. We're going to show you a really interesting new technique which will prevent the car dealers from stealing your money and other people's money as well. We're not just talking about millions of dollars here. We're talking about astronomical sums of money that any drug dealer would be jealous of. So before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, follow, and comment on the show. Also, to let you know that the show is sponsored by HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a company that allows you to purchase live calls with your favorite celebrities. So whether you want to purchase a call for yourself for $20 or purchase a gift for somebody else that you know or love, HollywoodIsCalling.com is the way to go. So step number one, the important thing is that you have to know the car, make, model, and price you're willing to pay for that car before you step into a car dealership. And the way you do that, of course, is to go online, spend a few hours online, do the research, make sure you know what you're willing to pay and what a fair price is. The next step is I want you to walk into a dealership and tell them that you're on a break from work. You only have 90 minutes to buy a car, but if they can get the finance manager to come up and talk to you, and if the two of you can agree on a price, that you should be able to close this deal in 90 minutes. Then look at your watch and say, I've got 85 minutes left. Could you please go call him? This technique, this 90-minute time limit, prevents the dealership from running out the clock on you and keeping you there for hours while they play games, employ delay tactics, and just jerk you around, wear you down, get you to a point where you're exhausted and you're willing to accept a deal that you ordinarily would never accept. Step number two, never finance through the dealership. Always get a loan pre-approved from your bank or your credit union. The documents that a dealership wants to provide you for the financing of your car loan through them will be almost indecipherable. By the time they're through, you really won't know what you're paying for that car. That's why you don't want to finance through them. You will want to finance, get pre-approved from your bank or your credit union. Now, they'll try to pressure you and try to convince you that you should get a loan through them, but no matter what they say or do, ignore it. The important thing is that you get your own loan pre-approved in advance through a legitimate bank or credit union. Next, they're going to try and convince you to trade your vehicle in. Whatever you do, don't trade your vehicle in and allow them to wrap that transaction up into the purchase deal that you're making with them for another car. That's a huge mistake. Studies have shown that that you can make 3 to 4 times as much for your car by selling it privately online. Dealers rarely give you more than 25% of a car's actual market value, and that's a huge profit center for them. Number 4 is an obvious one, but still there are people out there who fall for it. Don't buy any extras from the dealerships. Don't buy special extended warranties. Don't buy protective sprays or covers for your paint or the interior of the vehicle or the bottom of the vehicle's undercarriage. I've seen some dealers try and sell special protective paint coatings or interior coatings for $6,000 or $7,000. Who knows what's in these mystery coatings? Don't fall for it. Don't let them try to sell you additional insurance. No special this and special that. It's all nonsense. Don't let them try to sell you satellite radio. Don't agree to any of that because you can almost always get a better deal in the aftermarket once you have your car. Now here is the technique that's paralyzing the car dealerships and preventing some of them from implementing this this scam. This scam is unbelievable, but as long as you're aware of it, you'll be able to make sure you don't become a victim of it. At some point, you and the salesman, or the manager and the salesman, and the three of you will agree on a price and terms. And when that happens, they'll go get the documents drawn up and they will bring them back to the desk and present them to you for your signature. You'll sign them, and then the salesman will want to grab them and rush them back to the finance manager for his signature. Whatever you do, don't allow that to happen. Now I'm going to tell you how what happens next allows dealerships to steal billions of dollars. And oftentimes they get away with it in court. So now we get to the good part. So you sign the documents, and the salesman, the ever-eager salesman, wants to grab them and rush them off to the manager. Don't let that happen. Pull out your smartphone camera and tell him that you need to photograph the front and back of every page for all the documents that have been presented to you. And then take your time. This is the important part because you're making a point here. Take your time, your leisurely time, and photograph the front and back of every document. Then once that's complete, go through the documents on your phone. Enlarge the images, make sure every page is legible and readable. Only then, when you're convinced that you have a copy of every document that is legible, then tell the salesman he can now take those documents over to the finance manager and he can sign them. Here's why this is so important. This billion-dollar scam that's being perpetrated is so successful because everybody just assumes that when you sign the documents and they're taken to the finance manager or the dealership manager, that he'll simply sign them and return them to you. Many times that's not what's going on. Now there are a few dealers who still practice business in a legal and ethical way, but there are a lot of dealers out there who aren't. And the reason it takes so long for your finance manager or your business manager to countersign all those documents is because that's not what they're doing. They're back there modifying the documents. They've left some sections of the documents deliberately open, and now they're filling in additional terms, additional numbers. They're changing numbers. They're cooking the numbers so that the price that you thought you were paying when you looked at the documents that you signed will not be the same price that will be reflected by the documents that they modify in the finance manager's office. So by the time they're done altering those numbers, you may owe anywhere from $500,000 to $50,000 more on that car than you thought you were paying over the life of the loan. This is really common. And if you go to court, you know what most people do is they get the documents signed back. The salesman says, "Oh, and these are your copies. You get to take these home with you." So you take the car home. A couple of days go by. You read the documents, and then you notice there are some changes here. Now you no longer owe $25,000 or $30,000 that you had agreed to. Now you owe thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars more than you had agreed to. So you threaten to sue, and you do sue. You go to court, and you tell the judge that these were not the terms that you agreed to. The judge looks at the documents and says, "Well, why did you sign these documents if you didn't agree to these terms?" And you'll say, "Well, I didn't. Those documents have been altered." And the judge will say, "Well, can you prove that?" And if you're really smart and you subscribe to this show, it's at this point that you'll be able to pull out your smartphone and show the original images to the judge. And when the judge sees those, he will find in your favor. And if the judge is ethical, he will financially penalize that car dealership and refer the case over to the local prosecutor for criminal prosecution. Now keep in mind, some car dealerships are so stupid or so corrupt that even if they know you photographed these documents, they'll just bulldoze straight ahead and proceed with the scam, not really thinking this through. Um, and that's actually a good thing because under those circumstances, your attorney might be able to get additional sanctions and damages awarded to you against the dealership. So don't worry about that. But most sane dealers, once they realize that you have photographed these documents, they're not going to try to scam you. They'll adhere to the terms of the original agreement. And that's good because you want to avoid headaches. Sometimes when the documents are brought back to the table with the manager's signature, you know, actually this happens before the manager signs. Sometimes the salesperson will try to embarrass you or shame you into not photographing them. They'll try to make you feel like a nerd or feel as though you're being sort of paranoid. Keep in mind that is just a tactic designed to distract you and a tactic designed to allow them to get away with the scam. When that happens, just politely say, well, I'm doing this on advice of counsel. My attorney advised me to do this. And now you're golden. This document alteration scam is the reason so many dealers, both new and used, are making such mountains of money these days. Even though the margins on their cars are smaller than ever, because everybody can go online and they can see what the appropriate price for a car is, what's a reasonable margin, profit margin for the dealership. Even though that has made the customer more informed than ever before, many dealers are still making more money than ever before with this tactic. Remember, when you go to the dealership, always bring your smartphone, and if possible and if necessary, bring a friend who's good with numbers. That never hurts. So, having said that, I want to say to wish you well, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode.